We're being told that renewable energy is the cheapest, and that solar panels on your roof and a battery in your house is the pathway to energy nirvana. Cheap power bills, abundant energy, and a clean, green economy. So with that in mind, you can imagine my shock, I tell you, when a friend and neighbour of mine came to me with his power bills. Because this neighbour, well, he did all the right things. Over a period of about 12 months from the middle of last year, he installed the solar panels. And his bills? Well, they went up. Then he installed the batteries and, well, I'll show you the results in a minute. This is a verified real-world case study, and I'll show you the power bills and the receipts for the tens of thousands of dollars that he spent on going green. In this video, I'm going to show you the reality faced by any household that does all the right things. And I'm going to show you exactly how you get screwed on your energy bills even if you spend the money and become part of the solar revolution. But before we get to the details, my name's Topher Field, this is the Topher Project, and I help busy Australians like you to cut through the crap and the lies that we get fed by our politicians and by our media. And I help you to make sense of the nonsense that surrounds us. I am 100% viewer supported. I have no sponsors, no advertisers, and I take no money from any lobby groups, which means I'm completely free to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the unvarnished truth, even when, no, check that, especially when that truth is inconvenient to the powers that be. If you appreciate what I'm doing here at the Topher Project, then please help me to keep going by buying me a coffee via the button that you'll find at topherfield.com. And if you like my videos, then you will love my books about government, power, human rights, and civil disobedience. There's my first best-selling book, Good People Break Bad Laws, which is all about civil disobedience in the modern age. Then there's my second, also best-selling book, Good Christians Break Bad Laws, all about the theology of civil disobedience. Then there's the DVD of my multi-award-winning documentary Battleground Melbourne, which is all about the amazing people who stood against Daniel Andrews during the madness of the COVID lockdowns. Then there's my range of t-shirts, hoodies, caps, and bumper stickers, so that you can make a statement when you're out on the street. There's my original and classic Good People Break Bad Laws design, available in t-shirts in both men's and in ladies' cut, but also available in hoodies as well. Then there's my new history design, showing the pages of history turning and repeating themselves over and over again. It's available in t-shirt or in an incredible premium hoodie that is so comfortable. I promise this will instantly be your new favorite hoodie. It is just so nice to wear. Then there is the bold silhouette design that features Think Free. There's my cross design featuring Think Free, Make Sense of the Nonsense, and Good People Break Bad Laws. Then there's my whiskey and cigar design about Think Free, because that's how I do my best thinking. And then in the caps, we have the 1984 design, which says too much 1984, not enough 1776. And there's my monogrammed TF design. And then there's bumper stickers, which have a range of my slogans and designs for you to spread around your world. All of that's available at topherfield.com via the shop button at the top of the page, and everything you buy will help me to keep the Topher Project going so that I can bring you the truth, like this story, showing you the truth of what happens to your power bills when you install solar and batteries. First, we need to establish a baseline. In the period from mid-July to mid-October 2024, my friend's power bill came in at $814. That was for an average of just under 30 kilowatt hours of energy used per day, mostly during off-peak periods. So that's our baseline, $814 for 30 kilowatt hours per day in the middle of last year. That's what he paid without any solar and no batteries at this time last year. Now at the end of this video, we're going to compare that to his bill for the same period from this year, 2025, and see how much money he is saving now that he has solar and batteries. Now, his situation is that he has some cash in the bank, but not a lot of cash flow. So he decided that the right decision for him was to invest some of his savings into a solar system to get his bills down and protect his limited cash flow. And those solar panels, well, they don't come cheap. He installed an 18 kilowatt solar system, which cost him $16,900 and then cost taxpayers a further $5,400, thank you very much, for a total cost well in excess of $20,000. Now, you would think that that would be great news, and the energy company would say, "Thank you, citizen, for investing so much of your money into our energy infrastructure. Here's a nice healthy discount and some incentives on your rates to save you money." But what they actually said was, nice solar panels you've got there. Be a shame if somebody increased your energy tariffs. They put him on a new plan that offered feed-in tariffs so that he would get paid for the energy he produced from his solar panels. That feed-in tariff, that's the negative 7 cents per kilowatt hour that you can see on this page. But notice that they also increased his energy prices by 10 to 15%. Off-peak from 24 to 28 cents per kilowatt hour, and peak usage from 38 to 41.5. Why would adding solar panels cause your electricity rates to increase? But don't answer that question because they weren't done yet. Those tariffs, they only applied for a few weeks. Then at the end of June, they changed again. Most of the feed-in tariffs dropped from 7 cents per kilowatt hour down to 4 or less cents per kilowatt hour, meaning he was now being paid even less for the electricity that he supplied into the grid. Notice that there was one category, though, where the feed-in tariff went up. That's this smart feed-in tariff, and he suddenly gets paid 16 cents per kilowatt hour, which looks pretty good until you realize that that's something that most people with only solar panels will barely ever receive, because it requires them to be supplying power into the grid at a time when demand is outstripping supply. Thing is, when the sun's shining, so your solar panels are producing power, chances are so are everybody else's. In fact, oversupply from rooftop and industrial solar is a problem right now. We've built so much of the stuff that it actually destabilizes the grid when the sun comes out. So if all you have are these solar panels, well, you will very rarely ever get that smart feed-in tariff in reality, because you'll be supplying power at the same time as everybody else, and in fact the grid probably won't want your power in any case. So who does get paid that 16-cent feed-in tariff? People with batteries, of course. You see what's happening here. My friend and neighbour is being led with a carrot that he cannot catch. See, he was promised if you put solar on your roof, we'll reward you with feed-in tariffs. So he spent $16,900 installing solar. Then they said, oh, sorry, those feed-in tariffs aren't available to you anymore. But hey, do you have solar panels? Well, if you install a battery, well, then we'll reward you with these generous feed-in tariffs. And so he did. He spent another $16,900 and taxpayers chipped in another $10,730 on top to install a battery with more than 30 kilowatt hours of usable capacity. So now he's done everything, right? He's spent a combined total of $33,800. Taxpayers have chipped in a further 15 or so thousand bucks. He has the solar, he has the battery, so now we're going to see those savings in his power bills, right? Well, remember the bill from July to October last year when he had no solar and no batteries? That was $814. Now, with something like $48,000 having now been poured in by him and the taxpayer into his solar and battery setup, his bill is now $681. A saving of less than $135 per quarter, having spent $33,000 out of his savings. But here's the kicker. Thanks to the solar on his roof and now the battery in his garage, he's paying $681 even though he's using a lot less energy from the grid. In last year's bill, he was using just under 30 kilowatt hours per day on average. Now, less than 17 kilowatt hours. That's a 43% reduction in energy usage from the grid for a 17% reduction in his power bill. And he personally spent over $33,000 to make that happen. Now, I will hasten to point out that his savings will improve going forward because he did not yet have a battery installed for that entire billing period that we can see. But those savings are never going to make financial sense. And to see why, we need to go back to those changes in his tariffs, that carrot that kept moving. Remember when they changed the tariffs? There's one that I didn't mention, and that is the daily charge. You can see it here. It started at $1.32 per day. But that was before the increase that came on July 1 this year, when they slashed his feed-in tariffs and raised his electricity prices even more. Check it out though. They didn't just slash his usable feed-in tariffs, the ones that he would actually receive if he had solar panels and no battery. They also bumped up his off-peak rate to nearly 30 cents per kilowatt hour from less than 25, bumped up his peak rate to 44.5 from less than 38, and then they also increased his service charge. This is a fixed daily fee that you pay regardless of your usage. It went from $1.32 per day to $1.80. No amount of solar energy, no amount of dispatchable energy from your battery will save you from being charged that fee every day. So he spent all this money to save money on his electricity usage charge, and then the power company shifts the cost and increases his fixed charge. The result is that no matter how low his usage gets, he is still going to be charged just for being connected to the grid, whether he uses the grid's electricity or not. And by the way, he will still need to use the grid's electricity from time to time because a 30 kilowatt hour battery is not enough to get a normal household through a few cloudy days in winter, nor is it enough to keep the pool pump and the air conditioning running in summer. But here's the real kicker. In order for him to make his money back in 10 years, he would have to save not $135 per quarter on his energy bills, no, $825 per quarter. On a bill, by the way, that was $814 per quarter to begin with. Even making generous assumptions and assuming that my friend would save $500 per quarter per bill, which is 3.5 times more of a saving than what we've observed so far. So I think that's a pretty generous assumption. But even if we make that assumption, that adds up to $2,000 per year in presumed savings, despite the fact that he is still going to have to pay the fixed service charge, and despite the fact that he is still going to have to pay for any power that he does draw from the grid from time to time. That saving of $500 per bill, $2,000 per year, means it would take 16.5 years for him just to get his money back. That's ignoring the $15,000 that taxpayers have spent on top. If we factor in the taxpayer-funded part of it, the real-world repayment period is something like 24 years. Wonder how long the warranty is on those solar panels, or the battery. And apparently this is our game plan. This is how we're going to save the world. We're going to make this green transformation of the grid happen, and allegedly we're going to save money at the same time. This is the case study of someone who did the right thing. But isn't that true for all of us to one degree or another? We bought the energy saver light bulbs. We bought the energy efficient appliances. We got the smart meters. We got batteries and solar for our houses. We've covered our hillsides in solar panels and our hilltops in wind turbines. We did all of the things that were going to make energy cheaper. But for most of us, our power bills are the highest they've ever been. And for those of us who are saving money on our power bills, it's only because we spent $33,000+ first. At some point, the green energy carpetbaggers need to be tarred, feathered, and run out of town because they are frauds. Their green dreams are coming face to face with our power bill reality, and the reality is that we cannot afford their idea of cheap energy. If there's one lesson to take away from this case study, it's to never trust the government, because they will bait and switch you forever, changing the rules constantly as you spend the money and do the thing and chase that carrot. And if you keep following, they will keep leading you on. They did it with rooftop solar. They've done it with smart meters. They're doing it again with batteries. This matters more than people realize, because energy is the basis of our way of life, the basis of our prosperity. Energy is life, and cheap, abundant energy means living a cheap, abundant life. And when you understand that, then you understand that it's not just my friend who got screwed. It's all of us. My name's Topher Field. This is the Topher Project, and I help busy people like you to cut through the crap and make sense of the nonsense that is shoved down our throats by the media and our politicians every single day. If you appreciate what I'm doing here at the Topher Project, then please help me to keep these stories coming by buying me a coffee via the button at topherfield.com. While you're there, check out my books, my DVDs, and all of the merch via the shop button at topherfield.com, and everything that you buy is going to help me to keep the Topher Project going, bringing you stories like this. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. The algorithm loves you for it, and so do I. Please like, comment, subscribe, check out this video that YouTube thinks you will enjoy, and as always, think free.